It's finally Friday.
It's Friday, Friday.
Thank God it's
All right, welcome to the Kentucky Derby edition of the Friday Show. I'm Scott Jagow, along with Ray Paulick. We're glad to have you with us. It's Derby 24 hours away time. The buildup is all but finished, and we're almost there. So, Ray, this week it's been busy. What have you taken note of?
Well, most importantly to me, the way the horses train has changed. It used to be, first of all, we've seen the racing patterns change. It used to be 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. Now it's a month, 5 weeks. Training has changed too. You used to see breezes Wednesday or Thursday before the Derby. Then it got pushed to Monday or Tuesday for the final works. Now it's Friday or Saturday a week before. So we're not seeing the horses in strenuous exercise on the Churchill Downs surface as much as we used to. So it's a little harder to get a read on who really likes this racetrack.
Yeah, and then of course you have the shippers coming in who might come in late, like Irish War Cry. So we don't even get to see a breeze from him over the surface, so we don't really know how he's going to take to it. So there's an information gap there, I suppose. Who has looked good to you?
Well, this is not an original idea, but to me, McCracken, his workout last weekend was spectacular.
Which we had a GoPro on, which was really cool. Yeah. Thanks to rider Brian Hernandez and trainer Ian Wilkes for allowing that to happen. But it gave us a perspective on a final Derby workout, which included their analysis, which was cool.
And to me, it was a perfect workout, fast enough time. He did it well, well within not having to be asked. And the way he galloped out, he said, I'm not quite done yet. Let's run some more. This is too much fun. This is a horse that really, to me, is sitting on the best race of his life. And for a horse that's only lost once, that's where you want to be.
He's only lost once in the Bluegrass, which was a weird race. I mean, there were some really serious contenders in there who are in the Derby. All of them, or 5 of them. And they all, except for IRAP, didn't really run their race. So I'm going to be anxious to see. I think that's going to be a key race. Even though on paper it looks kind of weird because a maiden at 31-1 won it. But I agree that McCracken has looked fantastic, and he is also 3 for 3 at Churchill Downs. He's one of only 2 horses that's won on this racetrack, including Classic Empire, I believe. So he has that in his corner as well.
Right. He's not raced on a wet track, I don't think. And that's something that between now and Saturday, 6:30, who knows exactly what the racetrack is going to be like because of the rain.
Yeah, this is a track that dries out pretty quickly, so I'm not that worried if we don't, get a torrential downpour right before the race, or, if the rain comes overnight and it dries out all day long, the track will be fine. But who's the mudder anyway?
Well, several of the horses have won in off tracks, but one race is not really enough to establish whether or not a horse is a mudder.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a crapshoot in terms of who's really going to like it if it's a sloppy kind of track.
I think Irish War Cry would really like it by Curlin. I think he would appreciate the off track and his running style.
Looking at Lee is another by Midnight Loot who did well in the slop too.
Yeah, and that's one of the long shots that I have liked this week. It was so unfortunate he drew the one post, the dreaded one hole when nobody's won since 1986.
Yeah, but he's going to be coming from far off.
He is at least one of the horses that could deal with that post. Right. He's going to drop out of the field, save ground, and I'm telling you, looking at Lee is dangerous. He looks great.
Go back and watch Ferdinand's Derby from the one post.
Yeah, all right.
He won.
No, I know. But looking at Lee coming out of that Arkansas Derby, weaving in and out of the stretch, we've talked about that. So I'm not tossing him completely. Another horse that has looked good is Practical Joke. There are questions about his pedigree, and he's drawn to the outside, and he has tactical speed, so that could be an issue with like Irish War Cry coming. Is he going to be able to get over? But he was my Enigma horse. He's still my Enigma horse. I still think he has a chance to win.
And who hasn't looked good to you? I mean, for me, it's always Dreaming. Not that he hasn't looked good. He's been a little too anxious for me, and in front of a few hundred people that come out to watch the workouts. What's he going to be like when there's 150,000 people here screaming? The craziness of, the backstretch area is going to be crazy on Derby afternoon. It's not a good sign when you have to change equipment like Todd Pletcher did and change exercise riders less than a week before the biggest race of your life.
I think he might be the most talented horse in this field, but he's also one of those favorites you might have to toss.
Right.
Because there's just been too many questions. And And he's also drawn inside. Well, he's got a good post. Historically, the 5 has the most wins along with number 10. But he's got fast and accurate to his inside, Thunder Snow to his inside. They're both going. And then you've got State of Honor coming to his outside, so he might get squeezed. There could be an issue there for Always Dreaming. The other horse that hasn't looked phenomenal to me, and I think that is just maybe it's been that way for him, is Gunnevera. I really like Gunnevera and think he's a tough SOB who's going to come running at the end of this race. But he hasn't looked spectacular in the mornings.
Right. Yeah. Well, is it time to?
I guess so.
Moment of truth here. Well, you mentioned Gunnevera. That's who I came into the Derby week liking. I agree with you. I don't think he's looked as good as he could. I'm switching over to McCracken. I'm getting on a very crowded bandwagon. McCracken to win, Gunnevera second, and I'm going with a long shot looking at Lee for third.
Okay. Well, we also came to the same conclusion on McCracken. Don't bet him, by the way. Just don't bet him.
Is he the wise guy horse?
I'm starting to get worried about that. So I'm for the sake of let's have different opinions here, I am going to choose another horse. Okay.
Okay.
So as much as I like McCracken, I think there are a handful of contenders that can win. Hence, I think he has an outside shot. Of course, Classic Empire. He's won at Churchill. He's looking well. I mean, I think he's, obviously he's the favorite. He got a good draw. Practical Joke I've mentioned, but I guess I will land on the one post position that has never won the Kentucky Derby. That is my lucky number 17, Irish War Cry, to win the Derby. He's going to get, I think he'll have a perfect stalking trip because he's got closers to his inside, so he's going to be able to save some ground.
All right, how about the Kentucky Oaks?
I have a couple of long shots to throw at you for the Oaks. They're drawn inside. One of them is Ever So Clever, and the other one is Lockdown. They're both 20-1, and in big races like this, I like to go big, so I'm going for 2 long shots there.
Well, to me, this is a spectacular Oaks because the way the three fillies won their preps, Miss Sky Warrior in New York, Salty in Florida, and Paradise Woods out in California, these were exceptional prep race wins. But to me, Paradise Woods is just a different kind of animal. The way she won, coming off a maiden win, first time around 2 turns, she could be any kind of filly. I think she's going to romp.
All right, there you have it. That's going to do it for the Kentucky Derby edition of the Friday Show. Thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck with all your wagers.